noticed that recycling was allowed in that industrial zone because we have businesses that are recycled, and we also have one that also does recycling of parts of computers and cell phones and the batteries. And then we talked with our fire chief. Our fire chief says because his interpretation of the zoning is that recycling is part of the manufacturing process. And so he has allowed it, and he had set precedents. So that's why he felt that this company is allowed to be in the industrial zone. But
All right, friends. Hey there. That's the most. Check, check, check. There we go. Haha. Gotta hear me. I have to hear me. How y'all doing, friends? It is Friday, July 10th. It's actually past midnight now, so it's Saturday, July 11th. I'm going to check to see if there's anybody out there listening. I'm going to do a show regardless of whether anybody's listening or not. And I'm going to try to break this apart into little... Oh, hi there, Vera. Are you still there, Vera? So it's there's so much material to talk about. I'm not really sure which. Let me just take some notes here, and we'll try to figure out. Let me just organize my thoughts here, and we'll figure out together, shall we, what I'm going to work on today. So let me bring up my generic text box, and we'll say what? We'll say turn it on, and we'll say Black Lives Matter. That's an important one, and then that's going to actually tie into the Cheryl Chapman brouhaha. That was really big in the news this week. And then what else are we going to put? Let's put COVID stuff. So we're just going to talk about, we're going to have to break that down because there's several different topics within there, right? Let's do, I wish I knew how to do the code for write. Just stand by 1 second. I always have trouble. I need to have a chart printed out, I think, of all of these different HTML entities, because I don't have the alt codes memorized except for just a few. Like I know the alt code. I know this is really weird, but I know the alt code for the paragraph, or is it the paragraph? It's the section symbol that you see in legal stuff all the time. So under COVID stuff, what are we going to have? We're going to have we're going to talk about the germ theory of disease. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about because that's going to get into Koch's postulates. And can we say something about masks? Let's talk about the big picture. A lot of people, it's stuff about that the virus is connected to, but a lot of people, I think, aren't really thinking in these terms. Okay, besides BLM, Cheryl Chapman, that whole thing, COVID stuff, let's put the Incinerator update. So we have to talk about the how can I say this? The state of the zoning. This is a little troubling. It's a little bit problematic. We're going to get into it. Might not be so bad because of the amazing Claudia Bramer might have figured out how to work around the problem. So we're going to talk about the state of the zoning. We need to talk about the and type 1 seeker. I'm just going to put etc. If you're a regular watcher of the show, I've talked about this lots and lots and lots and lots, okay? But there is some of the stuff, it just bears some redundant, some, I hate to say repeating. Repeating doesn't sound so good, right? It sounds like, oh no, a rerun. A rerun. Okay, so that's what we got so far. Oh, I hate it when I do that. It looks so unprofessional when your background goes flying. Okay. To just get the right thing. Okay. So we got BLM, Cheryl Chapman, COVID stuff, incinerator updates, the state of the zoning, a pathway to the EIS, and what was up? Oh, because the incinerator thing kind of connects to the. Let's move that up. Okay, let's move up the incinerator update and put it next to the, because it kind of ties into the BLM stuff is connected to the incinerator updates, but it's separate too. Just needs to be talked about. I mean, we need to talk about this stuff, friends, and whether it's these highly charged, highly controversial issues, these political third rail issues, right? It's hard to discuss these things, right? It's really hard. It's challenging. So we have to, Vera's there. So Vera keeps me on track sometimes, when I start getting a little angry and reactive. She kind of helps guide me a little bit and say, hey, we don't want to be attacking people. And you're right, Vera. I just get a little annoyed because my Facebook stuff is really blowing up. It's really blowing up. I really can't even keep up with all of the comments that people are making on my stuff. So I appreciate the opportunity to interact with you all, because a lot of you, it's just amazing, because a lot of people that I've been friends with for a long time but just don't ever comment on my stuff, they've started, as I've been discussing stuff related to COVID, or because that's the COVID stuff, for some reason, you wouldn't think that the truth would be highly sharply divided along, political party boundaries, but it is. So it's kind of weird. That should make you suspect whenever anything is sharply. Not only is the COVID stuff sharply divided along political boundaries, but so is the virus stuff sharply divided along political boundaries. And by coincidence, I don't want to say, the incinerator is sharply divided, because it's not. It's really a bipartisan thing. We have Republicans and Democrats that are pushing the incinerator, but according to what I see, it's primarily getting pushed by Democrats. Okay, so politics and party politics. I was just having. So before I'm going to put that aside for right now. Let's put that over there, because there's another kind of a big announcement that I have to make. If I can find. Yeah. So this was just. I just put this up on one of my recent live streams. I'm just going to use it again. I'm going to show you what this said, okay? So it was an urgent fundraising plea. That's what I had just put up early, just a few days ago, okay? Urgent. I was trying to raise $1,600. And I was feeling really miserable because I really was putting off fundraising. I've been busy doing a lot of different things, working on a lot of incinerator issues behind the scenes, doing a lot of FOIL requests, trying to get information that's reliable that I can bring to you, that I can say, hey, look, this is the official document. That's what I do. Where was that recently, that the mayor was going after me and Paul Connett? Somewhere she was. Was it on? It wasn't on WNBF. But anyway, so I met my goal. I met my financial goal, and it surprised even me how quickly I mean, so I just, a lot of times when I'm trying not to get negative, but I'm trying to say exactly the way things are and what I've seen. But, I get shut down by a lot of different groups you would think I would be a lot ideologically aligned with, okay? And it really hurts. It does when I get shut down or I can't participate. And a lot of times it's groups that, that arguably I founded, like the Binghamton Independent Media Center. That goes back 15 years, okay? There's stuff more recently, okay? Groups that I kind of started that I don't have a voice in. So should I be too specific? Maybe I should be just a little bit vague because I don't want to alienate people, because I know a lot of people that are in this group, and we're all better if we work together. We're a lot more powerful if we all work together and not against each other. So what I feel sometimes like I don't get enough recognition. And the only reason why I look for recognition is because I have certain attachments to having shelter and having food and having internet services and having electricity for my computer here, because I can't do any of my work if I'm homeless. If I'm walking the streets, or even got a home, but I'm in a YMCA or something like that. So I live on very, very little money. So, but I don't like fundraising. I don't like doing it. So, I put it off, and I just stay doing the work, and I hope that, a miracle happens. And then I get to the point where I'm $1,600 in the hole, and everything is going to get shut off. And then I'm all in a panic. But you all came through for me once again. So I know I say things like, oh, nobody in this village appreciates me for the 8 years of work that I've done, strong environmental protection work in this town. But it's not true. It's not true that nobody appreciates me. There are people here that appreciate me and appreciate my work, because I got the funding that I needed to survive, to pay my bills this month. So July is kind of covered. So this is what I want to put out there. So I met my goal. God bless you all, every one of you who has helped me, or just even shared my videos, interacted with my videos. If you've ever used my videos for some good, you've been educated, and maybe you left me some nice feedback. Every little bit helps. Just sharing my videos, if you appreciate them, that helps. So I'm going to get to the point. I definitely got some $100 and above donations. So I'm working on producing a package that I'm going to send out to all my donors that has donated over $100 and over. I'm going to have to see if I got $50 donations, because I think that I might have. I'm going to have to check, because I'm not sure if I got some $50 donations, but I did get some hundreds. So anyway, I know what I'm sending out to the $100 donation people, and that has to do with some very special content showing you the kind of work that I've been doing recently. And I haven't been able to talk about it because I've been involved in a legal matter, and my attorneys, I had 2 wonderful pro bono attorneys, and they told me to not make any public statements. So, but the point is, this is critical work that I was doing, and I couldn't fundraise around it. And I was almost homeless last year, around, October, November. October, I would say, I made a transition, and I landed, and it's fine. It's acceptable. Where I have a very, very, very small apartment, smallest I've ever had. I've got stuff in storage I'm trying to figure out what to do with. And I have a story about that too. Let's put that on this one. Let's put it on this one. Hold on. I have to... it's... Okay, wait. Cancel. What? Okay, so this one is... I'm going to sneak that into the top, I think. Okay, because that does connect to COVID stuff. That's what I'll do. I'll put it down by the COVID stuff because it does connect. Stand by. Put this one just down by this one. Okay. All right. So God bless you all, friends, for supporting the Bill Houston podcast and supporting my work, my original research, my public safety advocacy, my public service work, protecting clean air and clean water. God bless you. Thank you all for supporting me and helping me and saying a kind word. All of that really helps because I get beat up a lot. So for the $100 people, here's what's coming. I'll tell you what's coming. Some very, very special content having to do with this lawsuit that I was in. I got chased for 2 years by pretty hard by an oil and gas company. And I'm going to share some very, very special content that I'm going to let all of my $100 donors. It's not too late to get in on the deal, and I'm starting to. I need to create like a GoFundMe. Maybe I'm starting to raise money for my August expenses. If I can get $500 just every month coming in, that doesn't seem like a lot, but I could do a real lot with just $500. Up to $1,000, I'm going to be able to live somewhat comfortably. But just 500 is going to make a huge difference, okay? And I know there are YouTubers out there that they just do goofy stuff that make, millions of dollars. Like, I'm not even going to name them. You know who I'm talking about. There's some really big YouTubers that are just silly, just goofy. So I feel like I do critical environmental work. I've done that for a solid decade. I have done critical environmental work, and so there is, if you want to see a summary of what I've done, you can just use your favorite search engine and type in Bill Houston's fracking resume, and it's a summary of my environmental work. And I just added a few. Let's go look at that really quick because I just added a few. My fracking resume. Just put it up over here. And where is it? It's that one. Okay. Capture right. Let's go above those. Okay. And just have to square it up, and then I'll show you what I'm looking at. Okay. So it's kind of on an older blog. It's called Bill Houston Blog, and I kind of had to abandon Bill Houston Blog for a couple of reasons. I still have access to it. I just don't do updates there anymore for the most part. One was because Cabot Oil and Gas purchased an ad. If you search for Bill Houston Blog, it would bring up some nasty slander. Okay, so here is, I almost forgot to show you that. All right, so if you heard the live stream I did to Facebook the other night, then you did hear, you heard my interview with Craig Stevens from Silver Lake Township, and we talked about a lot of this stuff. So these are, when you get on the calls with these PhDs, the first thing they do is they want to read to you their CV. And I don't really do that much because I just, it kind of, it sounds like boasting to me, so I don't like to do it, but it's important. So here's some of the winning environmental campaigns that I've been involved in over the past few years. There was a Constitution pipeline. I fought it from 2012 to 2019. I guess that's when it was finally dead. It took a few years for it to really kind of keel over and stop breathing. And that was a $1 billion pipeline, 124 miles, and we killed it. And I did a lot of work on the Constitution pipeline, video work and other kinds of work. So then there was a Kinder Morgan NED that was a 412-mile pipeline. There was a lot of people. There were some fierce people up in the Albany area and going over into Massachusetts that were fighting the NED. So that was a big effort, $3 billion pipeline. We killed fracking in New York. We killed the I-81 pipeline. It was a FERC pipeline. We killed it before it even went into pre-file. That was pretty good. We killed LPG. We killed two big projects at Seneca Lake, two Crestwood projects. One was this massive 88.1 million gallons of LPG, which is propane and butane. They wanted to store that under Seneca Lake in caverns. And they wanted to massively expand there's existing methane storage right now at Seneca Lake, and they wanted to massively expand that. Both of those were killed. I did a lot of work on that project, on those two, 2011 to 2018. Fenton bomb trucks. I had a huge part to play in this one because I figured out what was going on and I alerted the community. I called a bunch of people to come to the meeting, and then there was this big community group, and then there was a couple of lawyers, including Claudia Bramer, who's working on the incinerator for Endicott, helping a community group, and lawsuit, temporary restraining order, TRO, went up to the judge. The judge says, this is bogus, kicked it back to the planning board, and at that point the applicant withdrew. So that was another victory. And then there's recently, this just came out this week, Atlantic Coast Pipeline, 600 miles, $8 billion, 2014 to 2020. I went down to Virginia in 2015, really early on. My friend Craig Stevens, he's always got a date earlier than mine. He always has a way to top me. But I went down there in 2015. I went down to Yogaville, Swami Dayananda Saraswati, thank you so much, and Joe Jiva and so many people, wonderful people I met down there. And so it was for me it was five years. I guess there's some people that were fighting that one longer. And it's dead. $8 billion project. And Dominion even sold off their natural gas unit to Warren Buffett. So that was an amazing, spectacular win. Now, I didn't work on DAPL, but DAPL pipeline is shut down because of a deficient environmental review. Amazing. Never seen that before. And then the other thing that happened that Craig summarized was he rattles it off better than I can. It's the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. It's the National NWP, National Wetlands Permit. I have to look that up. I want to make sure that that's right. Army, U.S. Nationwide. There it is. NWP 12. NWP 12. Is that what it is? Nationwide permit. Nationwide Permit 12. So they were using, Clean Water Act, it's mostly state, it's a federal law, but it's mostly state jurisdiction, state enforcement, state regulated. Very unusual that way, but it is. So, but it is a federal jurisdiction, and there are certain cases when the federal government will intervene. And one is when there's crossings of quote-unquote waters of the United States. I'm not sure how that's really defined, but there is certain kind of water crossings, especially for natural gas pipelines that cross state boundaries. And I believe this even applies to, it's a little weird. Crude oil pipelines aren't covered under the Natural Gas Act, and there's a lot of federal jurisdiction that isn't, it's questionable jurisdiction. Okay, they don't, the point is that, so I think this nationwide permit was being used by multiple pipelines, including gas pipelines and oil pipelines, because Craig Stevens says the Keystone XL was able to basically, because of a lawsuit, it was vacated. So, the U.S. District Court, District of Montana, Clean Water Act, NEPA, National Environmental Policy Act, the court vacated NWP 12 and remanded the permit back to the Corps, Army Corps. This is going to cost the gas industry, or it's going to cost the federal government, which is going to try to recoup from the gas industry, hopefully, lots of additional money for these pipelines. They were using this blanket permit to get away with all these water crossings, and the U.S. District Court in the District of Montana, I don't know how. See, this is the first level federal court. It's not an appellate decision, so it's a little questionable how, if this is going to apply in other circuits. I don't think it does. But it could have, this decision might have a ripple effect to other places. And we discussed when I talked to Craig, I'm still going to put that video up, whether this NWP 12 permit thing had anything to do with Atlantic Coast Pipeline getting killed. And I think that it might have. So that's what I just wanted to say. I wanted to basically... I wanted to thank you all for helping me meet my goal, my financial goal for this month. And you all bailed me out, and I'm very, very, very grateful. So I'm going to be working on the special rewards coming up very shortly. So I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come right back.
This is the initial facility. There's room for expansion.
We've had a couple major floods up here.
Oh, no, they didn't say anything else. Please talk.
Well, we have this thing.
That's my phone number.
Thank you.
Mark doesn't use the internet.
Freedom Tower didn't get flooded.
That's higher than the rest of the.
Yeah, this is the building or the area?
That area there flooded the last flood.
There was flooding in that area. Well, there was
flooding.
There was flooding in this lower area here. But not, I wouldn't say the treater tower, because that's kind of starting up the hill a little bit.
Storage facilities right there.
Another industrial waste treatment facility.
So this is
Small
single
line.
floor operation or?
Yeah, it's controlled, so. We just ship the waste to one floor. Extremely the product. The only other waste treatment facility.
So this is
Small
single
line.
floor operation or multiple floors?
It's single floor.
How many square feet in that?
Which we're not gonna be using. This upper levels of this building are basically empty. Basically, we can just choose from certain buildings that are available and.
But this is the starting, this is the initial facility. There's room for
We've
expansion.
had a couple major floods up here.
Oh, no, they didn't say anything else. Please talk.
A couple major.
This is the initial facility.
Okay, we're back. Thanks for staying with me. This is kind of an interesting. I'm going to play you a couple of videos back to back. Let me actually get that set up, because there was another part of this. There was another part of this that I wanted to have ready. Let's just play this one. Because this is interesting all on its own. This one is interesting. So I have to okay. And then I guess we can put that one. Give me one sec. That's going to go down until it disappears. Okay. So this is what I'm looking at. So this is a very interesting little exchange. Let me just make one little change here. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is a pretty interesting little exchange right here. So here's a story that I'm working on. Okay, I just want to put this out there, even though it's a little bit, it's not 100% vetted or worked out. I'm doing some more. I hope I don't. Maybe I shouldn't do this until I have all of the data in front of me. But here's what I heard. There was. Let me just play this clip first, and then we'll talk about it. This is the Sunjeel guys. They came and met with us, Western Broome Environmental Stakeholders Coalition. It was September was the date. The date of this was I thought I had the date in here. Okay, it's at the beginning of this thing. It was in September was when they came and met with us, okay? So listen to this right here. This is very interesting.
But this is the starting, this is the initial facility. There's room for expansion.
We've had a couple major floods up here.
Oh, no, they didn't say anything else. Please talk.
Well, we have, this is
The initial facility. There's room for expansion.
We've had a couple major floods up here.
Oh, no, they didn't say anything else. Please talk.
well, we have, this is that's my phone number.
Thank you.
Mark doesn't use the internet.
Treater tower didn't get flooded.
Well, that's higher than the rest of the.
But yeah, this is the building in the area.
That area there flooded the last flood.
There was flooding in that area. Well, there was flooding.
Well,
There was flooding in this lower area here. But not, I wouldn't say the treater tower because that's kind of starting up the hill a little bit.
There are storage facilities right there.
That can take water, no
Waste
problem.
treatment was underwater. It came off that hill.
And how often do you get these floods?
Well, we've had two major floods.
2006, 2011.
I wouldn't say the treater tower because that's kind of starting up the hill a little bit.
There are storage facilities right there.
That can take water,
Waste
no problem.
treatment was underwater. It came off that hill.
And how often do you get these floods?
Well, we've had two major floods.
2006, 2011.
500 year
Two
event.
DAEs here.
Yeah.
That's a 500 year event.
Flooded out where they were.
So we got to add boats to our.
Well, I'd be on the second floor.
It actually was a good thing because, like, the trichloroethylene that IBM had spilled, it helped to flush out the ground. Anyhow.
I wouldn't say the treater tower because that's kind of starting up the hill a little bit.
There are storage facilities right there.
That can take water, no
Waste
problem.
treatment was underwater. It came off that hill.
And how often do you get these floods?
Well, we've had two major floods.
2006, 2011.
500 year
Two
event.
DAEs here.
Yeah.
That's a 500 year
They
event.
flooded out where they were.
So we got to add boats to our.
Well, I'd be on the second floor.
It actually was a good thing because, like, the trichloroethylene that IBM had spilled, it helped to flush out the ground. Anyhow.
Okay, hi there, friends. Let's do that again. So this is Sunjeel. These are the guys that came and visited us, Western Broome Environmental Stakeholders Coalition. And I apologize for that audio issue. I'm sorry. I'm just going to repeat what I just said.
Certainly can send it to.
Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Just have to have that. Alrighty. Okay, so Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Now, I hope there's not too much of an echo. Let's turn my headphones. Maybe I'll turn my headphones down. Here we go.
Another industrial waste treatment facility.
So this is single floor operation or multiple floors?
It's single floor.
Single floor.
Yeah, everything's on
How many square feet in that?
That building, I think, is 30,000, but our process is not using all of that.
Okay.
There's a empty building here, which we're not gonna be using. The upper levels of this building
Yeah.
are basically empty. Basically, we could just choose from certain buildings that were available and
But this is the starting, this is the initial
I don't
facility.
know if they said
There's room for
anything.
extension.
We've had a couple major floods up here.
oh no, they didn't say anything else. Please talk.
Well, this is,
That's my phone number.
Thank you.
Mark doesn't use the internet.
Treater tower didn't explode.
Well, that's higher than the rest of the,
So yeah, this is the building in the area.
that area there flooded the last flood.
There was flooding in that area. Well, there was flooding.
Well, that-
There was flooding in this lower area here. But not, I wouldn't say the treater tower, because that's kind of starting up the hill a little bit.
There are storage facilities right there.
That can take water, no
Waste
problem.
treatment was underwater. It came off that hill.
And how often you get these floods?
Well, we've had two major floods.
2006, 2011.
500 year event.
DAEs here.
Yeah.
And he gets his pen, and he starts writing notes to himself. So he is paying attention. Now I want you to pay close attention to Danish Mear's face. He's the guy in the middle.
That's a 500 year
Flooded
flood.
out where they were.
So we gotta add boats still.
Well, I'd be on the second floor.
It actually was a good thing because like the track clear the land that IBM had spilled, it helped to flush out the ground.
So now check out the body language. He's laughing, ah ha 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 ha. But he looks like he's thinking, oh shit. He looks to me like he's really bothered by this information. And then here's what happened. I still am trying to get confirmation of this, okay? I'm still digging. But here's what I heard. I heard there was a big grant that was made to help fix Endicott's water. And the money was spent. And instead of working on water quality, what happened was there was a big drainage project right here. It's like by Skyline Drive. There was a big... I have to talk to some of the local people, and I have to do some FOIL requests, and I'm just beginning an investigation of this. But it looks to me like money, government money, state money, taxpayer money that was set aside to improve Endicott's water quality. We've got big water quality issues in Endicott. If you live here, you know about our water quality issues. That money was used for these guys, for Sunjeel, for the incinerator, for here on campus, to improve the drainage off of that hill, to help these guys. That's what I heard. And I'm doing some digging. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. So if any of you have any information about that drainage project that happened during basically I think it was 2019. I don't know if it was into 2020 or not, maybe. Big drainage project. If you have any information about that, please contact me and My email address is williamahouston@gmail.com. That's my email address up there. Up that way. Up there is where my email address is. So I have to get used to how the image flip works. Okay. So that's a little teaser. Now I've got some other stuff for you here, and I just have to put together, I have to find this one clip. So if you can stand by 1 second, I'm going to find this other clip, and I thought this was one of them. But, so I have to find, this came from, I know the two clips. Okay. So one of them is from the first Dog and Pony Show. I'm working to protect you, your clean air, your... What is going on there? That's not the right one. He's yelling, Mom. What's he doing? He's yelling. I don't want that one. I want to go this one. Sorry.
You said 80, I think in the initial announcement, 80 employees. Is that, how many?
Yeah, well, initially it's only be 20 to 25.
20. Okay.
Yeah, the startup, right?
Yeah, it's startup as we build and expand the business.
Okay.
Because initially we're only going to be...
Okay, so stand by 1 second. We're still in the playlist. How do I go back to the mini player? All right, so let's go down to the first Sunjeel Dog and Pony Show. Pop out. Oop.
Into the next slide or two. So I think this is the meat of...
Is there any intermediate process between...
This was November 6th, 2019. November 6th, 2019. This was the first, it's hard to say. They gave Western Broom a little private Dog and Pony Show, and then this is to a little bit larger audience. There was maybe 30 people that showed up to this. And then there was the big one that they did on Zoom, and they did one for elected officials, and then they did one for the public. So I call this the first Dog and Pony Show because this was the first one that was really open to all of the public, not just to our little environmental group. So I want you to listen to this very carefully, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it.
The disassembling and putting the batteries in the heat treatment. You have to disassemble them any further.
No, you just get to the battery cells, basically.
That's Frank Roma. Notice that he was supposedly the head of Western Broom Environmental Stakeholders Coalition. Notice he gives him a softball question. He calls it heat treatment. He doesn't say the incinerator. He says heat treatment. So that always cracks me up.
Where's the shredder process? Is that the shredder? No, that's going to come after the heat process. You shred them post-incineration? Yes.
What did he say?
The intermediate, the disassembling.
I have an idea of what the electrolytes are. I have an idea.
The disassembling and...
So I'm having the weirdest problem with the transcript on this. The transcript on this used to have some keywords that I could go searching for, and then they somehow disappeared. I don't know. Can I delete one? I don't see dots. I don't know. Maybe there's a way I can accidentally delete a line from the transcript. but the transcript was altered somehow. I don't think I did it. So I've been going through it, and I've been trying to alter. Maybe I have to turn on closed captions. I've been trying to fix the transcript because there's a gap, okay? There's information there that I can't just click to. So let's just listen again.
Disassembling and putting the batteries in the heat treatment. Do you have to disassemble them any further?
No, you just get to the battery cells, basically.
Where's the shredder process? Is that the shredder?
No, that's going to come after the heat process.
You shred them post-incineration?
Yes.
Did you hear what he said? The question was, do you shred them post-incineration? Okay, did you hear that? So now let me play one other clip for you.
So you're incinerating the electrolytes with no regard to what the composition of any given electrolyte is?
Well, we have an idea of what the electrolytes are.
He didn't deny it. He said, so you're incinerating the electrolytes, and he didn't say, no, we're not, right?
The electrolytes are also a very small component in the battery. So what the heating process does is it neutralizes that, and you have a homogeneous product that can be recycled.
What process, the entire process, is claiming does that?
Sorry?
But you're incinerating the electrolytes, correct?
You burn off some of the electrolyte.
There it is. The question was, you incinerate the electrolytes, and his answer was, you burn off some of the electrolytes. He's admitting they burn stuff, okay?
Yes.
So electrolytes like Imperium, New York was going to go to the battery factory here, and they were going to use NMP. NMP was banned by the EPA under the Obama administration for how toxic it is to human life. It's commonly known as paint stripper. So you just went out and incinerated paint stripper?
So we only are taking in cobalt and nickel-based batteries. I don't know what I3 used for their electrolyte.
These are things I'm intimately familiar with. Because one of the other example I'm familiar with. Sodium dioxide. The Labo battery factory in North Carolina that was moved here was using sodium dioxide. One of the problems was that thing is caustic as hell. That particular electrolyte is exceptionally caustic. And when it combines with other things in the environment, it produces other toxic compounds. So, how are you tracking what electrolytes you plan on incinerating?
So the one thing I can tell you, right, the reason why we did a JV with Sungail is that.
So again, he's asking, how do you track what you incinerate? He didn't deny we incinerate anything.
We're not a startup like i3, and I don't want to comment on i3 because I'm not.
There's nothing bad.
They don't have a history of battery recycling.
They're experts. In fact, right here in Vestal is a Nobel Prize winning chemist who discovered lithium-ion technology. And he is the mentor of the people from i3.
Yeah, I think Stan did his work in the late 70s. They got him the Nobel Prize. I'm not sure what work he did, and I can't really comment on that.
Well, my point is working with them. I've worked with them. I understand battery chemistry and electrolytes. And you're telling me you're not tracking what electrolytes you need to identify exactly what you're burning, because you can't claim your process is safe because you don't know what you're burning.
Well, we have, based on the kind of batteries we have taken at Sungail, we have a profile of what batteries to take. For example, most of our batteries.
That's good. So you're conscious of this, but you're saying kind of. But you can't just get a load of batteries and assume it's a particular type of battery. You've got to identify every battery and understand who made it and what type of battery was made by that who, and decide whether it's appropriate for your process.
That guy was really giving them a hard time. I really enjoyed that guy. All right, so let's do 29. Where are we at? 27. This is great. This is Glendon Archer. Listen to this. This is one of my favorites. Listen very carefully, okay?
Capitals are. On that basis, statues will be sorted in the process. I think your question should be, when electrolytes are incinerated, what products are formed from the incineration? And how will those products be handled? I think you are jumping ahead.
Okay. Hear that? Glendon Archer. He's saying they're an incinerator. They're going to incinerate the electrolytes. Listen.
Or what the electrodes, what the cathodes are. On that basis, statues will be sorted in the process. I think your question should be, when electrolytes are incinerated, what products are formed from the incineration?
When the electrolytes are incinerated, what products will be formed? This is Glendon Archer. This is the president of Metallica Commodities Corporation based in White Plains, New York. This is one of the two corporations. This is the American corporation in the joint venture with the Korean corporation. He's admitting they're going to incinerate the electrolytes.
And how will those products be handled? I think you are jumping ahead. I think he needs to say, what's the gas handling treatment? And then hopefully that satisfies your concern that the gas handling system that's being put in place, hold a second, will take care of whatever emissions you're concerned about. Because I will tell you that this system, the emissions are all captured in the gas handling system by scrubbing, by baghouses, and the gas that leaves, the final gas that leaves the process is innocuous.
It's innocuous. So he's trying to say that they capture everything. They don't capture everything, because all you have to do is look at the permit application and just read it, and there's a table with listing all of these nasties: formaldehyde, cancer-causing, dioxins, hexavalent chromium, and I know there's one more that I've heard Paul say there's 4 cancer-causing agents, compounds in the output. So it's not like zero waste. They're burning it, and stuff is going to get in the air. They do the best they can with their baghouse and their wet scrubber, but that is, it's not a perfect process. So let me go back to that last one. Okay, because this one is very interesting. This one is very interesting. Interesting. Oh boy. Alrighty. There it is. Let's take this one and let's just pop it over there. But I want to come back to this. Alright, so got some noisy neighbors, a noisy dog. Okay. Alright. So
joint venture with a Korean company that is the industry leader in this, a company called Sungyo.
South Korean, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Sungeel.
So we partnered up with them. They have a proven technology. If you Google lithium-ion battery recycling in the United States, you get maybe 100 people popping up on your things. Most of those are experimental or pilot plants or people just trying to come up with some sort of solution. The way we're different is this is a tried and true process that has been working in Korea.
Okay.
And as nations go, Korea is probably the world leader in lithium-ion battery recycling and production because of Samsung and LG. They were the people that we thought we should partner with. Our company is based out of White Plains, New York. So we're just down the road, 3 hours down the road.
Facility that was built by IBM. What?
Cathodes.
So here's what I want to talk about. Okay. So these guys are talking about solvent extraction. These guys are talking about solvent extraction as the next thing. They're going to be hiring 20 people just to start with, and then they're going to expand. Well, what? They're going to build more burning units, or are they going to? How else are they going to expand? They're going to have hundreds of people working there, but they've only. It seems like this incinerator is going to be working 12 hours a day. Are they going to go to 24 hours a day? How are they going to expand the process? So, one of the things that people are thinking is that they're going to do solvent extraction here. This is something I've said from the beginning. If you go back and watch my videos, that I called that out from the very, very beginning. I said they're going to do solvent extraction here. I could even find you the video. If you look in the playlist down here, this is future plans in my very first series. Garner, Governor Cuomo, Donna Lupardo, Fred Ack. And I think I was wrong. I didn't think those things had been used for many years, but I just heard from, I used to work over there, and I wonder if they cleared it with NICE. Facility right next to the NICE substation. What could go wrong? Anybody think of something? Maybe like a big fire? How would a big fire affect the NICE substation? I don't know. That's kind of critical infrastructure. I'm not sure that's the best place to locate that storage facility. And I wonder if they cleared it with NICE. Wouldn't that be interesting? So what we got over here is there's a storage tank farm over there by they call this side Clark Street over here, and I think this is maybe Odell on this way. I forget. But so this is Oak Hill. There's the railroad tracks, and that's an internal driveway. And here's Franklin Street. This whole area inside the green is part of this waste. I hate to say waste water. That's what people call it, but it's not water. I mean, it's probably largely water, but there's a lot of chemicals and solvents and heavy metals and acids and bases and all kinds of nasties that was generated from This was built by IBM back in the 1980s, I believe, to deal with their process wastes. Because they were getting hit by the EPA for all these chemical dumping incidents, so they had to figure out something they could do. So they built this facility, and there's several very coarse, very large-scale processes here that they use to, they alter the pH. They have a biodigester, alter the pH. They do some like a chelation kind of a process there to pull out some of the metals, precipitate out, and then they take the rest and dump it into the river. And this operated for 20, 30, 40 years. Let's say it was built in 1980, let's say 90, 2000, 2010, so probably nearly 40 years this thing was in operation or more. And here's some news. If you live in Endicott, you might not even know this. It's probably getting around right now, but I haven't ever read this, seen this in the newspaper. But most of this facility is shut down now. And this just happened. October, November, they turned off a lot of, most of the internal services that they provide to people. Lots of the internal services. Like, I'll give you an example, deionized water. Well, guess what? Most of the manufacturing rely upon deionized water. That's a major problem for the companies that are still there, like BAE. They've been shutting down October, November. To keep it in operation. If the flows dwindle down, and this is one of their motivations, I understand, of why they are bringing the leachate trucks here, is to keep the flow volumes up so they could keep this plant in operation. Okay, so friends, once again, this is the end of this segment, getting close to the end of So I just wanted to give you a little taste of that. This is the show where I basically said they're going to come here and they're going to do solvent extraction here. And then we heard the initial. We knew this was coming. We did hear some advanced rumors about Phoenix. What is it? Phoenix Acquisitions LLC. We heard of another. Phoenix Acquisitions apparently has a memorandum of understanding that they're going to be buying the property. But because it's an LLC, we have no idea who it really is. We don't know anything about Phoenix Extractions or Phoenix Acquisitions, and this was just mentioned in Jeff Platsky in the Press Connects. He just mentioned this. I should have that in my Vestal shooting, mayor to resign. Here we go. I hate that. I already read the article. It should count as a free. I ought to be able to view it again. Come on, that's such a pain. Let's see if I can figure out a way how to get around it. So this is what we got. For sale, 2.9 million square foot here on campus. And there's something very interesting in here. I talked to somebody that knows a lot about commercial real estate, and I'm trying to remember, it was a month or so. It was a month or so ago when I talked to this guy, and he gave me an estimate for what he thought that it would be going for the property if it sold. What I seem to remember is that let me see if I left some traces. I don't think I. Let's do. And then here on campus. Oh, look at that. Phoenix Acquisitions Group, LLC. Found one on Facebook. I think it was in the range of $30 to $70 million that they thought. That there was a range that I was given, and looking. Yeah, I put some details here. Wednesday, June 24th. And then there's another company called Maines Endicott Holdings, LLC. And who knows? Let me check one more place. See if I left some notes. Has a buyer. Update has a buyer. Oh, here it is. So I heard $10 a square feet. $2.9 million. That's, call it 3 million square feet. That's $30 million. Okay. The max price will likely be $30 million. This is what somebody that knows a lot about commercial real estate told me. And this is about half of what the $70 million purchase price allegedly was. But the purchase for a price, they got a lot of free money to buy the thing in the promise of jobs. And the jobs were not, the promise of jobs was not ever fulfilled. So, we'll find that again. $30 million is what I was told this thing is going to sell for. Now, here's what's interesting. That's what they say basically the property's worth. Jeff Platsky says that it's a unnamed buyer. So I wish I could, how can I do this? Okay. Let me do it like this. Okay. Negotiations are underway to sell Endicott, the Endicott site where IBM Corp was founded. No deal has been signed, but a letter of intent is in effect as an unnamed buyer performs due diligence, a process real estate experts said could take up to 4 months given the size of the parcel and the complexity of the transaction. A potential sale is partially related to the recent bankruptcy of Maine's Paper and Food Service Corporation. The parcel, now known as Huron, is solely owned by Bill and David Maines, the primary shareholders in Maine's Paper and Food Service. Through a separate legal entity from the failed Conklin-based food service business, the real estate was used to prop up Maine's flagging finances in 2019, according to documents. What's he talking about? A $35 million mortgage signed in early 2019 hangs over the property. Proceeds from that Huron mortgage were used to pump cash into the $3 billion Maine's food distribution business, which by 2019 was bleeding nearly $30 million annually in red ink. They got a mortgage for $35 million on Huron campus. Some bank gave Huron campus $35 million so that they took the money from that business and they propped up the Maines. That, who would have thought? Why was their business in trouble in 2019? The Maine's food distribution, they were rocking and rolling. What was the problem in early 2019 where they were bleeding $35 million a year? Where was the money going? Were they really mismanaging it? I thought these guys were successful businessmen. What changed in the whole restaurant, the fast food distribution industry that was costing the Maines $30 million every year? But regardless, they took $35 million from here on campus, and they stuffed it into, they raided here on campus. They took a loan on it for $35 million and dumped it into the food service business. This property is only going to sell for 30. They bankrupted it. These guys, the Maines family, bankrupted their own business. So now it's going to sell basically at a tax sale. Okay? If the buyer's only going to, they're going to have to sell it for double that. They're going to have to sell it for $70 million to cover whatever the property's worth, plus pay off the note. Are the Maines going to walk away with zero? Maybe the new buyer just basically pays off the note and they walk away with the property. It's crazy. It's a crazy deal. These guys are such shysters, and they've been working since 2011 trying to come up with some new dirty dumping operation to bring here so that they can charge rent on per truckload that they just dump into the river after performing some magical gross chemical extraction processes and filters. They dump it into the river. So this is staggering news. The sale was disclosed Wednesday afternoon. Initial Maine's creditor meeting. The start of a long process. I wish Jeff Platsky would have put some of these documents online so that the rest of the people could read them. But annual tax revenues from here on amount to more than $1.6 million, $427,000 to municipalities, and $1.2 million to the Union Endicott School District. So that's very interesting, right? That we're trying to get the school district, and the school district wrote this amazing letter, but we're trying to get the school district to basically get involved and help us fight the incinerator, because they have a budget for attorneys and things like that. But if the school district is getting $1.2 million from here on campus, which is a staggering amount of money, and $427 million to municipalities, I'd like to fact check that. I'm going to trust Jeff Platsky got the details right there, but they're not paying their fair taxes. They got negotiated tax breaks, like 10 years ago, like this massive renegotiation back when i3 Electronics, or EIT went bankrupt. They renegotiated their taxes and got like a really favorable deal. Meanwhile, everybody in the village, all the other property owners, got to make up that tax burden. So we all got screwed while the Maines family is buying property in the Grand Caymans, which is true. Billy Maines is an expat. He's an expatriate. He's moved to the Cayman Islands. That's where he lives. So, and I think the other partner, the other brother, has also moved to the Caymans. So that is the story. Endicott Mayor, now only a skeleton, support local journalism. I'd like to support local journalism. Is that what Jeff Platsky is? Is he a journalist? Or, I guess there's just some background information here. So, that's interesting. So, are these guys planning on doing Sunjeel? So first of all, who's the mystery buyer? A lot of people are speculating that it is Sunjeel. It is the Koreans. Okay? I want to see this memorandum of understanding. You know, if anybody can get access to that, I'd love to see it. So they think it's Sunjeel, and they think they want to do solvent extraction here. So that segues into the sale, right? Segues into this right here.
So that where you're pointing to, not the, I think it's the storage. I have to look at your map again. But this lower facility here, the collection center, okay?
Right.
The site where that is, that whole site right there is a waste treatment facility that was built by IBM back in the 1980s, I believe. And so my question is, do you have any? Oh shoot!
Well, they're closing down too.
That's the wastewater, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, do you have any?
So notice they call it waste water. They love calling it waste water. Chemical wastes, they call it waste water. That's always interesting.
Plans on using that facility for the processing of liquid or other waste?
Yeah, because we heard they're closing down. How will that impact you guys?
So we have very small wastewater. I think we've got 2,500 gallons every quarter.
Yeah.
Which is probably less than 1% or even probably less than a tenth of a percent of the capacity of this thing.
Will there be heavy metals in it?
There should not be any heavy metals in it. I think it's basically just from our scrubbers. We can just look at sending that. We were going to use I3 to use it, but from what we hear also they'll be shutting down. Mm-hmm. But we could just truck that to a facility, a municipal facility or another facility that can handle it.
Yeah, because our local waste facility, the sewer plant doesn't separate out heavy metals, I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
Right. So do you have any, the only plan is to truck it off site. You're not going to have any, there's no plans to use to dump into either the storm sewers or into the municipal sewage treatment plant?
No
process waste.
No process.
Just, bathrooms and stuff. But
yeah.
So to take a step back, you get the batteries in and say it has a covering, metal covering on it.
Let me run through the whole process for you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, truck comes in, battery gets unloaded. It's physically checked to make sure everything's intact. The packing is proper. If the packing's not proper, put it back, send it back out. Lithium-ion batteries.
Battery recycling facility.
Has an incinerator in it. Do you have any plans on using that incinerator?
which facility?
The SMCC, the recycling facility.
No, this one, yeah.
That is the recycling facility. It's being gutted, basically.
We're cleaning out the whole place, which actually is a lot more expensive than we thought, because that thing is built like Fort Knox.
Is that the old treater tower?
The treater tower, right.
Yeah.
So you don't have any plans on doing any burning or incineration at that place? So,
Did you see Glendon Archer? He didn't say no, but he shook his head. No burning or incineration, right?
Environmental, constraints of what we can do and how we can do responsibly. We cannot do those
Especially in the future
responsibly.
when it gets more efficient and technology improves.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
there will never be a lead acid battery. There's enough lead acid battery recycling capacity in the United States. We're not trying to get into that space.
Is the old treater tower?
The treater tower, right.
Yeah.
So you don't have any plans on doing any burning or incineration at that place?
Bullshit. Bullshit. I wish I could take you.
Is that the old treater tower?
The treater tower, right.
Yeah.
So you don't have any plans on doing any burning or incineration at that place?
No. He whispered it. And he shook his head. No. What a liar.
So just go add another. So your air discharge is.
We are heating up the batteries. We have a kiln just to heat up the batteries, to roast the batteries.
And is there any discharge?
Yes,
metal
there's discharge.
There's the combustion gases from burning the natural gas and anything that combusts in the battery itself.
Anything that combusts in the battery itself. Wait a minute. Glendon Archer just went like this when I said, "Are you going to be doing any incineration?" So they're not even agreeing with each other on this. Okay.
Which is all collected. There's quite an extensive treatment plant. Combustion gases from burning the natural gas and anything that combusts in the battery itself, which is all collected.
All collected. It's not all collected. He's gaslighting. He's bullshitting us. We know it's not all collected because they told us in the permit what the emissions are going to be. So this is just more gaslighting by Dale Vollmer.
There's quite an extensive treatment plant.
It goes through a gas. It goes through gas.
Filters to reduce.
Yes. So
It goes through a gas treatment process.
let's talk a little bit about the controls, right?
You guys are going in the treater towers and building 38, right?
I don't know is that building 38?
Here.
That's not 38.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
That's inside the waste treatment facility, Mark.
This right here. This is our.
Well, he's asking about this one, Donish. I don't know.
Right.
I don't recognize that.
No, that's just a shed they have there. I don't think anything substantial.
They used to use that for chemical storage.
That's where you're going to store the batteries.
Right. And this is where they're going to be processed.
Right, over there.
But so to finish my question before you go on, I just wanted to, so what I'm hearing you say, I just want to hear you say very clearly that you have no plans on using that liquid chemical waste treatment facility that you happen to be locating inside of.
That's not a liquid.
But right here, this area here.
The water treatment plant. Water treatment.
We're not in here. We're not in here.
Well, but you're inside the fence line.
Yeah, you are inside what we can. That's the whole. We consider that all part of the waste treatment facility.
We're not using that.
Right.
Yeah.
Metal building.
Yeah, this metal building is just a shed that's just fenced off.
You have no plans on using any.
So I asked him over and over and over again because I felt like they weren't giving me a straight answer. I was asking them and they weren't. They were just like. Grr. So watch when at the end, at the very grand finale, the final flourish, they still don't answer.
That waste treatment plant.
No.
Okay.
Because we would even use less than 1/10 of 1%.
So here he says no.
But so to finish my question before you go on, I just wanted to, so what I'm hearing you say, I just want to hear you say very clearly that you have no plans on using that liquid chemical waste treatment facility that you happen to be locating inside of.
That's not a liquid.
But right here, this area here.
The water treatment plant. Water treatment.
We're not in here. We're not in here.
Well, but you're inside the fence line.
Yeah, you are inside what we can. That's the whole. We consider that all part of the waste treatment facility.
We're not using that.
Right.
Yeah.
Metal building.
Yeah, this metal building is just a shed that's just.
You got to listen to Glendon Archer very carefully because he whispers something to Denny Schmier right here. And I think he says, we're not using waste treatment.
Liquid chemical waste treatment facility that you happen to be locating inside of.
That's not a liquid.
But right here, this area here.
The water treatment plant. Water treatment.
We're not in here. We're not in here.
Well, but you're inside the fence line.
See, what did he say right there? He said something to Denny Schmier. It's hard to hear. And then he's going to repeat. And we can kind of hear what he says when he... I don't know if he repeats it or not, but listen carefully.
Yeah, you are inside what we can. That's the whole.
We are not using waste treatment. And I think he's playing with words here because it is waste. I've showed you again and again the use of the word waste, like universal waste destination facility, okay? They try to avoid the word waste because they know it's a hot button, but it's all over the permit application documents. Waste this, waste that, universal waste, hazardous waste. It is waste treatment. Oh, the C-VID is the hazardous waste incinerator unit. There is the there's another one that it's this TSDF, treatment, storage, and disposal facility, which mentions hazardous waste. So they don't like the word waste. He's playing games, I think. He's trying to say, because they're going to do solvent extraction there, which is it's a metals purification process. He's going to say that it's urban mining or something like that. It's not waste, because he's saying the final product, their input stream definitely is waste. Somebody else's waste, and they're able to take it and transform it into pure metals again after they do incineration and this crazy chemistry that I believe they want to do here. Listen to their answer.
Consider that all part of the waste.
We're not using that.
Right.
Yeah.
Metal building.
Yeah, this metal building is just a shed that's just fenced off.
You have no plans on using it.
Right here.
Glendon Archer says, right now. We have no plans on using it right now. Listen.
Liquid chemical waste treatment facility that you happen to be locating inside of.
That's not a liquid.
Right here, this area here.
Water treatment plant. Water treatment.
We're not in here. We're not in here.
Well, but you're inside the fence line.
Yeah, you are inside what we.
I missed what he said. I can't. I'm going to listen to that again more, but if you can figure out what he says right there, email it to me. Listen carefully, because he said something else.
That's the whole.
We're not doing waste treatment. That's a psyop.
We consider that all part of the waste.
We're not using that.
Right.
Yeah. Is that
right now? Hear what he's just said? Right now. We're not using that right now.
Metal building.
Yeah, this metal building is just a shed that's just fenced off.
You have no plans on using any of that waste treatment plant?
No.
Okay.
He says no, but watch Glendon Archer.
Because we would even use less than 1/10 of 1%.
Well, I realize that, but you're talking about all these future plans about taking new kinds of batteries that are coming from Tesla and.
I don't know.
Because we are roasting and crushing.
Right.
We're roasting and crushing. This is not a process that generates water. Water.
Well, like Mark said, that in the future, the solvent extraction.
That's a different story.
That's a different story. He doesn't say we have no plans of doing it here. He just says it's a different story. Gaslighting.
And that is probably not even going to be.
See, now they're talking over top of each other. Danish Mir's trying to answer. He's trying to answer too. They're like, blah, 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 blah.
Plant is designed, wherever we design that plant to be.
Yeah, that plant, basically our goal is to build, the first one is going to be
Listen, he just goes off in a side
Endicott, and then we will probably have about 5 of these spread out around the United States.
Didn't answer the question. They're going to do solvent extraction here. That's my hunch. That's my theory.
But the solvent one, you won't just...
The solvent one, we will make a decision on
where it goes.
Where it goes. It probably...
Listen to this. This is my favorite part.
More sense to be close to a huge source, like, I don't want to name names of other companies, but a big EV manufacturer, or...
Did you hear that? A big EV. It would make sense to locate this near a big EV manufacturer. Like Imperium. So from the beginning, these guys were BSing us, dancing around, trying to deceive us about the true nature of this facility. I'm going to take a break, and I think I'm going to come back tomorrow morning and finish up other segments that I had. But this is Bill Houston Podcast. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Please like and subscribe this the video, and subscribe to my channel if you can. If you want to send me an email, williamahouston@gmail.com. There is my PayPal link, tinyurl.com/donate to Bill Houston. And if you don't do PayPal, here is my snail mail. You can just say William Houston, P.O. Box 22, Endicott, New York 13761. I'm going to see you later, friends. Bye-bye.